Here we go on an adventure. We're taking a road trip to a ghost town in Colorado Springs, Colorado. It's the Ghost Town and Museum. We're going to drive towards Manitou Springs, Colorado to get to the Ghost Town Museum. Got my nails done for this. I'm brand new fresh mani. And here we go. We've just arrived, and look at this really cool painted moose that is outside of the museum. I can't wait to get pictures taken with it. And here we go. We're about to enter the museum. It's very cheap, $8.50 per adult. And here we go. We paid the cashier, and it's time to enter. It's really neat. It's set up with a whole bunch of town rooms, basically. It's an old-timey street back in the old Wild West, what a street would look like back in the day. And on the street are all the different vendors and businesses that you would find back in the day. Mercantile and Wild West signs. Looks like we got John Wayne. Got butter churns, all the tools from back in the day they show us. Look at all this stuff. Can you believe that that's the way they lived back then? And look at this jail cell. The jail cell floor is covered in money. There's change that people have been throwing in there for years and years and years, so we threw some in too. It's covered in nickels and quarters and pennies and dimes. The entire cell floor looks about 3 inches thick of money, maybe deeper. The street is covered in old school buildings. There's a shooting range and a livery and sewing machines and phone company, I guess telegraph company. This was a really neat future. Events like Fortune Tower. But it's all indoors, but it's made to look like you're on an outdoor street. But it's all indoors. Livery and stable. Just really, really neat place to hang out. We had such a fun time visiting here. It was so much fun. It was like stepping back in time. This was my favorite part right here, was the fire department. Here's a Concord stagecoach. Back in the day, this is what you did when you traveled. It wasn't a bus, it wasn't a train, it was that Concord. And look at this. This is a 1890s Cadillac. Yep, it sure is. That's a Cadillac. They even had like washing machines. Look at this one from way back when. And cars that you could buy right out of Sears catalog. Well, this is jail cell from back in the day. Got yourself in trouble, that's where you'd be staying. Apothecary. This is a drugstore. Like CVS or Walgreens. That's where you went back in the day. Sure is. That's where you went. They had so many really neat shops. You could look through the windows and see what kind of goods were tended there and what kind of things could be found. This was actually the parlor. This was a very, very fancy stagecoach. Very fancy car right there for people that had some money. Take a lady out on the town for the night in a car like this, and you'd be getting all kinds of kisses and hugs from that girl. And here we go. This is the Sears Robux car. You get this one right out of the catalog. And there's some things from Calamity Jane. Look at those dentures. Those dentures are from back in the day. They are made of metal. And that's what you'd put in your mouth. And there's a great big old family Bible. And there's the barber shop. There's the barber shop. You go in there to not only have your hair cut, but also to have your teeth worked on and to have your blood let. If you weren't feeling good, they could put leeches on you there and bleed you out. Get rid of the toxic blood. That was something they did back in the day. How barbaric, huh? That's actually something they did back in the day. I just had so much fun visiting this museum today. I sure did. I've been living in this area for the last 11, 12 years and never made it to this place. And I feel like it's someplace I should have gone a long time ago. Now this is a doctor's area. You see this? This is the apothecary or the doctor's office. I just like this door. Lots of stained glass on it. I really like this old-timey artwork too. I just thought it was pretty. And this reminded me of like a Mary Cassatt. I really liked the artwork. It wasn't really an art museum per se, but I just kind of liked some of the works that I saw there. These old-timey stores. Just beautiful, beautiful stagecoaches. I really, really was interested in the stagecoaches and the wooden wheels and just, I don't know, I just had a really good time looking around. I thought this was fancy. This was like the sitting room or the dining room or living room of a fancy home. Well, I guess a standard home back in the day. Very, very pretty. And here we go with a little bit more of those beautiful old cars. And this looks to be a printing station, like where they'd make the newspaper or books. This looked like a printing station to me. But I'm not really sure.
Like Sam Elliott did their
It was hard because I couldn't, my eyesight's getting to be now so good as I get older, and it was hard to see into some of these windows because you couldn't get completely too close to them. You had to look through the window, through the glass.
Yeah.
These cars, though, I was able to get my phone up inside so you could actually see the inside of the car. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty big. This would hold several people. And they were quite large, actually. When I stood next to them, they made me feel very small. And this, I believe, was the saloon. My husband and I went inside to take a look what it'd be like to be in an old Western saloon. It's quite loud music from these pianos and things inside.
Just hear me play. Okay, for 25 cents.
I tried to get my husband to put his eyes inside one of these naughty old machines. For 25 cents, you could take a look at the glorious girls, or the gorgeous girls, or the sexy girls, but he didn't want to put a quarter in the machine, so he didn't have a quarter, he says, so he didn't get to look. But that's okay. But these are the kind of machines they had back then for entertainment purposes. Put a quarter in, and you get to see scantily clad ladies dancing and showing off their calves, believe it or not. Anyway, this was an old-timey saloon. So we came in to just take a look at it. It's just a wooden bar with a few bottles here and there. Nothing fancy. But this was the old-timey saloon. It sure was. I came over here to take a look at what my husband was looking at. And it looks to be some sort of a table where they played cards. I was more interested in these old machines. I took a look in, but you couldn't see anything. And then this one here was like a fortune teller. I was really into this one. I wanted to play this one really bad, but my husband said he didn't have any change. Now here we go. This is right up my alley, the old-timey fire station. This I thought was super interesting. You know, what girl isn't into firemen, right? We're all into firemen. Anyway, well, most of us anyway, I think we all find firemen to be intriguing and romantically brave and sexy and all that. So here's an old-timey fire station and all the tools that came with the trade back then. This is an old Concord stagecoach. Concord stagecoach was like today's Greyhound buses. It was the way you traveled. You went by Concord. And this was the Concord. This here is a Cadillac. It sure is. That is a Cadillac. Very fancy. This was like the fancy car back in the day. My husband's over here looking at the Sears Roebuck's car. This was the car that you bought in the Sears catalog. If you wanted to purchase a car right out of a catalog, this is the one you purchased. It sure is.
It's really cool the way this place was set up. It was just like walking down a street, and every window on the street that you looked into, there was somebody doing something. A mother tending her children, a doctor attending a house call, men working in the blacksmithing studio, women baking. There's just, the entire place is just set up so that you can view these different rooms. And then they've got antiques and items from those times behind glass in little cabinets all over the place that you can look at. And they have some things that you can actually pick up and touch. And then they had this really flattering mirror.
Here we
This
go
mirror
with
took
a
40
mirror-
pounds off me easy.
mirror that they
I
had
need one of
back in
these.
the day.
I need one of these
And I'll
mirrors
tell
in
you
my
what,
home.
this mirror
All
is
of
so
us ladies
flattering.
need a mirror
It
like
takes
that. in our
30,
home.
40 pounds off the body.
I'm not the
'Cause I
best
was looking in
camera
this
person
mirror
when I'm
going,
looking
oh,
at stuff.
hey,
I'm trying to.
I need what it
trying to
is
show you all
every
everything, but I was
room
so
of my house.
impressed with this way, the way this
room-
mirror
this
made me
mirror
look.
just makes you look
I
fabulous.
just couldn't stop looking at it.
Kind of mirror every woman
Yeah,
needs
this
in her
this place
home,
was
just
incredibly
flattering.
fun to walk around.
Flattering as can be.
Just look at all
The
this.
tube tape recorders, you know what I'm saying?
This was a
Instead of
telegraph
the
office,
actual
I believe.
recording, then you can play
They
it
had
on
like telephone and like a little switchboard. And then they had music, maybe a sitting room or a parlor.
That's the
Lots of fun just to take a look at the way things were back
I actually
then.
have seen, I've never
Look
owned
at the
one.
colors
but-
that they had,
as it turned.
some of the different furnishings
Yeah,
that they
almost
used.
like a large
and
music box.
just really, really neat. I really liked the way this place was set up. It was lots of fun. As you can see, you can look through these windows and you can see into different parts of people's lives.
We have a big picture of former
Kind of like a
presidents.
wax
Here it
museum,
looks
I
like
guess
it's
you could
got
say.
a child
I just really enjoyed my
at
visit
the
here.
doctor, or the doctor.
I'll quit
coming
running
to
my
visit
my
the
mouth,
child in
and
their own home.
you guys can just take a look around, and if I
doctors
see
used to
something
do.
that
They
needs to
made
be
house
explained, I'll
calls.
explain it to you. But this was a doctor making what I believe was a house call. And over here, take a look at that. Those are metal dentures.
Are those made
Those
of
are metal dentures. Can you imagine wearing those in your mouth? Ouch.
Let's see.
Yeah.
After looking at this room, if you look down the hallways, you're going to see that great big mirror down there with the beautiful stained glass, very ornate mirror.
A vanity. A vanity.
That mirror was actually used
Dressing table or a vanity.
to cover the bar windows. So during the day, men that went in and drank,
ornate.
nobody could see what they were doing. They'd throw that heavy
Yes, it is.
blind across the doorway or across the windows, so that wives and girlfriends and mothers couldn't see the men inside the bar and what they were up to.
It's got that ivory or marble top to it also.
Very fancy way to
Look
be
at that
sneaky, I
Harper's
guess.
Bazaar. How bizarre.
There's a Harper's Bazaar from way back in the day. But look at that. There's the blind. That's what they would cover windows with.
That's a
That
blind
great
for a
big
window.
piece of furniture there is a window blind. How cool, huh? That's just to hide what the men were doing in the saloon during the day.
Beautiful. It's a fancy way to cover your windows. Times are so different then. For children to play with?
I was waiting
Okay,
all day
here's
long
some
just to
gold
get my hands in here. I wanted to do the gold panning so bad. I just thought this looked fun.
Never done this before.
And believe it or not, it's not as easy as it looks. But my husband was pretty good at it. He actually found us some gold in my pan.
Hold
though.
on, I still my bag down.
So I'm going to have to sit my phone down for just a second while I get situated and put my bag down and get my pan and get ready to do some panning with you guys. Sorry about the shoddy camera work. I'll get better at this as time goes on. I need to buy a selfie stick or some sort of rig that I can wear my phone while I'm doing things. But as you can see here, I'm trying my hand at panning for gold. So let's see if we can find anything. You just kind of swirl the sand
I don't know
around,
what I'm doing, so
and everything
I'm not
that's
sure what
heavy
I'm
will
saying.
sink to the bottom. So you're looking for darker sand. The darker sand, the blacker sand, I guess, is where the gold is at. So you just kind of swirl it around in the water to get all the light sand to float off. And the heavy stuff that's left in your pan is going to be where you might find gold deposits. So let's just give this a try and see how it goes. There's another stair over here. I can lay down.
stuff is hot. Okay, what do I watch you do it instead?
I'm doing it on my
Look, I saw gold.
I wish I was alive.
Arms are burning.
As I was swirling around my pan, I actually saw a glimmer of what I believed to be gold. So I'm telling my husband, put your pan down, grab my pan. I think there's gold in there. So he's gonna help me out because he's a lot better at this. Let's see if I actually did see gold, because I believe I did. So he's just gonna work this pan for me for a little bit and swirl the water around in that sand. And I keep telling him I saw gold in there. I saw gold in there, Dan. So he's looking for it for me. I hope he finds it. I really do. I'm excited. Well, I've certainly learned that you have to be patient when you're panning for gold. This is not a quick process. And this is just set up for people's entertainment. Can you imagine if you'd been back out there, out in the creeks and the rivers, really doing this back in the day? How hard it would be.
I thought so.
Because it was so hot and so difficult just doing it here where they're setting up, set it up for entertainment purposes. And it was still a lot. My husband sees the gold that I was pointing to him. I told him I knew there was gold in there, and he's like, yep, I see it too. He's trying to get it out of the pan. It's just a tiny little sliver bit of gold, but there it is. He's got it on his finger. He's handing it to me right now. That's gold. That's gold, folks. There's gold in them there dishes and in their pans. We did find a little bit of gold. We sure did. We ended up with 3 tiny little pieces.
What do you do with it when you find it? No. Let me have it. Would you look at that?
Well, I said I wanted to find gold, and we did. We found gold. There it is, folks. That is real live gold, Colorado gold. It's not much to look at. Can you imagine if that's how you made your living, if that was your livelihood, is going out on the creeks and finding specks of gold, and that was how you fed your family? Oh, that'd be a lot of work. I do not envy what our forefathers and ancestors had to do to get by. That's a lot of work. But there's that gold. I blew it up so you could see it up close. But that's how tiny it is. That's how tiny it is. I put it in the spine of a little book inside my purse and kept it. I did. You're allowed to keep it if you find it. And we had so much fun at this place today. It was just lots of fun to pan for gold and to walk through the old-timey streets and to see how they lived back in the day. It was lots of fun to go through this entertaining.
Looks like much, folks.
I don't know what you would call it. An antique mall, kind of. Old-timey street. It's a ghost town. It's a ghost town and museum. And if you're ever in Colorado Springs, you really ought to go. It doesn't cost much. It's lots of fun. Lots of things that were interesting, too. You could pick up these little phones, and they would say things to you. And there'd be little bits of history in the phones. This used to be their iPhones, guys. This was long before Android, long before iPhone. This is what you had, a wooden box on the wall. And what is that? Bull blinders. I thought it was some sort of, I don't know, barbaric chastity bra. But nope, that's not what it was. There you go. Look at the street. I tried to get a view of the street from afar so you could kind of see what it looked like inside here in this building. They made the whole inside of the building look like an old-timey street. Really fun. Very interesting. It was really cool history.
Yeah, I was just videoing that. Kind of cool.
Well, we're nearing the end of the show here. Look at all these interesting ways they've had to entertain themselves back in the day. These were different pianos and music boxes and music makers. That's how they listened to music. They did have a theater, too, that you could go in and watch the history of this place. My husband didn't really want to go to the theater, so we did not go. But yeah, this was just a very, very interesting little place. And there's a cool little gift shop on the way out, too. Oops. I guess this is the tail end of the show now. Now we know. It's time to go. But they have this cute little gift store with this train that drives around the entire top of the shop. Lots of neat little things. Wooden Indian and just lots of neat little trinkets. So of course we had to explore a little bit and walk around the store and get us a few souvenirs. And just enjoy the rest of the show.
Do you want to pick one instead?
The rest of the time we spent just kind of tooling around the little gift shop, and we bought a little bottle of gold flakes, and we got some candy some bear paw candy.
You pick out the one you think is best.
You know, we just kind of looked around and saw the different little trinkets that they had for sale, and I thought this little display was cute, the way they had all the little different types of gold you could buy, little gold souvenirs, little gold bars where you can dig for your own gold nugget, little bottles of gold flakes. I just thought they were cute, little memory of our time spent. Had to get one. And of course, right now we're digging through, looking at different things, different candy bars and different Colorado souvenirs, just little different things that they've got in the shop. I mean,
babe,
we
this
live
is like you,
nearby,
right
so it's not like we really need the souvenirs. But it was still just a kind of a cute little shop to tool around and look at the different things they had to offer.
Look.
Lots of cute little local art things, t-shirts, of course, you know, your basic souvenirs. That's a little pot of Colorado. Little Colorado pot. I thought that was cute. Shark's teeth. I thought that was neat. Got a whole bin of shark's teeth down there. Arrowheads. There's all kinds of different things. Moccasins and hats. And I thought these rocks were neat. I always like looking at tumbled stone. It's very pretty. But thanks for joining us, guys. Can't wait to take you on my next adventure.